Waging war is expensive and dangerous. Winning it requires strategy and brains. Sometimes, the smartest thing you can do is fool your enemy into thinking you were going to attack one place, while you really attack another. And sometimes you can fool them so completely that all you need is a corpse. In 1943, British intelligence carried out an audacious plan to mislead the Nazis about the location of the coming Allied invasion of Southern Europe. The operation involved creating a fake persona with a backstory, complete with false documents, then planting them in a way that was designed to be discovered by German spies. It was the greatest deception of World War II, and you won't believe how they did it. We'll get to the mission in a minute. But first, a quick word from our sponsor. The idea for Operation Mincemeat came about because of Italy. When the Allies took control of this island in 1940, it gave them a perfect jumping-off point for future invasions of Nazi-occupied Europe. The only problem was which place to invade first. There were several possibilities, and each came with its own set of risks and logistical challenges. But two places stood out: Greece and the island of Sicily, just off the coast of mainland Italy. Both locations were relatively close to mainland Italy, making them ideal targets for an amphibious assault. But the Nazis were also well aware of these advantages, meaning any Allied invasion force would have to contend with some of the toughest German defenses in the Mediterranean. By early 1943, Allied leaders had settled on Sicily as their primary target, but they needed a way to keep it a secret. After all, the entire success of the operation hinged on achieving complete surprise. If the Germans knew the Allies were coming, they could shift defenses and bring in reinforcements, thus turning what should be a minor victory into a bloody stalemate. So British intelligence hatched a plan to deceive the Germans about the location of the invasion, relying entirely on strategy and creativity and not a single graphic or violent element. As part of the plan, Major William Martin, an intelligence officer with the British 15th Army, created a fictional persona, Lieutenant Colonel J. a British Army officer who commanded a unit responsible for transporting supplies to Allied troops in Greece. Pennefather's mission, according to his documents, was to observe the defenses along the Greek islands and report back to London. But there was a twist. Pennefather wasn't actually in Greece. He never had been. His mission was a complete fabrication, cooked up in a London safe house to trick the Germans into believing he was there. To make the deception as convincing as possible, Martin filled Pennefather's backstory with as many authentic details as possible, complete with a wife and kids back in England and a series of fake travel documents outlining his route to Greece. The final step was getting the documents to German intelligence, and for that, they turned to one of the most unlikely of assets, a dead man. An Italian operative working with the British discovered that his cancer was terminal and offered to help with the deception as part of a special request. Upon his death, his body would be shipped to his family in Naples. British intelligence agents slipped the documents into his briefcase, then contacted the local German consulate to inform them of the impending arrival of a British officer's body. When the Germans heard about the corpse, they immediately jumped into action. A team of agents met the train carrying the body and, unbeknownst to the British, transported it to a German base in Milan. At this point, the deception was completely out of British hands. All they could do was hope the Germans would do the rest. And boy, did they ever. Thinking the Allied invasion was headed for Greece, German commanders ordered the movement of two entire divisions from Sicily to the Greek islands. Just as Allied forces took the beaches of Sicily on July 10, 1943, completely unopposed, Operation Husky went down in history as one of the most brilliant deception operations ever carried out, catching the Germans completely off guard. But it was far from the last time that cunning and creativity played a major role in fooling the enemy. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, check out our other content for more stories of deception and daring. And if you haven't already, what are you waiting for?